Democrats, why?
because I believe that this election, I mean, I've been in politics for a while now, this election is unlike any other election I've ever encountered, because there's only really one issue, which is, you know, do the British people think it is right to give Theresa May a landslide majority to basically impose any kind of Brexit that she wants on the country with no meaningful opposition, no meaningful scrutiny. And I think that's wrong, not only because I disagree with the sort of hard Brexit she wants to pursue, I also fundamentally disagree with it as a matter of democratic principle. Healthy opposition, holding the powerful their feet to the fire, is an essential ingredient to our democracy. And in effect what she wants to do by opportunistically calling this election to exploit the sort of weaknesses of Jeremy Corbyn is to arrogate to herself extraordinary amounts of power. And I think nobody who cares about the quality of our venerable democratic tradition should be relaxed about that.
She would say back at you because this country voted for Brexit and they want her to get on with it.
Who's stopping her? This is the thing.
Well, this is what she says. She says your party is stopping her, the SNP is stopping her, and Labour is slowing her down.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I only splutter with indignation because it is such a ludicrously confected, fake reason. I mean, having sort of...
Well, did Tim Farron... sorry to interrupt you, but didn't Tim Farron say he did want to grind things to a halt?
Listen, we have 9 MPs, for heaven's sake. For the last year, people have been denigrating the Liberal Democrats for being such a small parliamentary party. Suddenly, yesterday, on the sort of steps of number 10, Theresa May turns this Liberal Democrat mouse into a roaring elephant that's somehow standing in the way of her, you know, democratic mandate to do what she wants. It's a nonsense. Opposition parties oppose. That is what we do in a democracy, and it's very important we do it effectively.
But you don't oppose Brexit.
But I tell you, she's got every single vote through the House of Commons that she wanted, with, in my view, the supine connivance of the Labour Party. I can't understand why the Labour Party has given the government of the day a blank cheque. But this idea that Theresa May has been stopped by the House of Commons from doing what she wants is simply untrue. It's a fabrication, and why is she fabricating this? She needs the alibi, which she's invented. I don't know how she managed to do it with a straight face, because it's such a sort of ludicrous confection. She needs to do that because what she is really after is exploiting the opportunity which presents itself because of the weakness of Jeremy Corbyn to get for herself such a large majority that she can basically, for the next half a decade, do exactly what she wants and to impose upon our country either a very bad Brexit deal or a hard Brexit deal or no deal at all. I think that is simply unacceptable. And I also think there are plenty of Brexit voters who, during the course of this election campaign, will feel quite queasy and a little bit uneasy about this rather cynical attempt by the Conservatives to give themselves the wherewithal to do exactly what they want, no questions asked, over the next 5 years.
I don't know, if she was watching you now, she'd say, Nick Clegg is absolutely right. That's exactly what I want to do. And I want the power to just get on with this because I have that mandate already. I just want to make it a little stronger.
She has the mandate to pull the United Kingdom out of the European Union. She does not have the mandate to make the country poorer and economically weaker, which is what she's doing with her particular version of Brexit, hard Brexit. I mean, let's just scroll back for a minute. I know the Conservatives and the right-wing Brexit-supporting press now want to rewrite history and claim that everyone in the whole country apparently voted Brexit, with perhaps the exception of me and Ken Clarke. Actually, it was a very finely balanced decision. 16.1 million people, and crucially, the vast majority of younger voters, voted for a different future. Now, what Theresa May is saying this week is, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you thought. I don't care particularly, this is what she's saying to younger voters, I don't care that you want a different future. I'm going to force you to swallow a future that you don't want and you voted against. Now, I think a lot of young voters in particular are going to get pretty cheesed off about that in the next 7 weeks. So hang on a minute, don't take us for granted. And in my experience, for good or for ill, the moment politicians take voters for granted and sort of try and expect voters to jump through hoops for their own ends, for the ends of the own ends of the politician, people actually don't do what politicians expect. And so that's what I think. Actually, there could be some quite nasty surprises for the Conservatives in this campaign.
For the Liberal Democrats, I mean, let's be honest, they couldn't get much worse. So you will hope for gains. But if Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party are not as strong as you are hinting they're not, she's going to win, isn't she?
Yeah, look, I don't think there's any point dissembling about this. I think it is highly likely, unless for some extraordinary political earthquake again, that Theresa May won't be Prime Minister on June the 9th. The question is, if she's Prime Minister, is she Prime Minister with what kind of majority? what kind of mandate, and crucially, is there an effective opposition who's going to rein her in, hold her to account and scrutinise her plans? So, when I was leader of the Liberal Democrats many years ago, back in 2010, the big question for us was, would we step up to the plate to provide responsible government for the country at the time? Actually, the test for us now is, are we going to step up to the plate to provide effective opposition, particularly because that's lacking from the Labour Party? I think we will, but of course we can only do that on behalf of the British people if we get more MPs in the House of Commons.
You've mentioned 2010. Let's talk that TV debate, that Clegg mania, the moment
Short-lived, yes.
Well, you became Deputy Prime Minister. It wasn't that short-lived. And is Theresa May wrong to say she will not take part in a television debate?
So she is clearly right from her own selfish point of view, because she's not a politician that performs particularly well sort of out of her own kind of comfort zone. But I think she's fundamentally wrong when it comes to the interests of our kind of democratic culture. I think people have got used to the idea and welcome the idea that every few years they get to see how the runners and the riders in an election measure up to each other and how they argue with each other and how they put their case forward, and they want to see that for themselves. And actually the kind of artificial bear pit of Westminster is no surrogate for a much more fluid, open, kind of contemporary setting that you have in these TV debates. So I think the broadcasters and the other leaders should go ahead anyway.
What, an empty chair her?
Yeah. Why should everyone else be deprived from the opportunity of setting out their stall and having a debate just because she is not courageous enough to do it? But I tell you what, I think it reveals something else, which I certainly think rings true with me, given that, of course, I worked with her for many years in government, which is that Theresa May is an accomplished politician in an environment where she controls everything. And if you're a Home Secretary, it's a classic part of Whitehall where you just pull a lever and something happens. It's a very sort of command and control part of government. And she's clearly run government like that with this very small clique around her in Number 10. A general election campaign is completely different. It's a more chaotic, spontaneous, unpredictable thing. You need to show agility. You need to show an ability to be sort of spontaneous on your feet. And I would like to think that the Prime Minister of the day, who's now going to go into this very complex negotiation with 27 other governments and parliaments, should be properly put through their paces in this election campaign, so we all think actually they've got the right skills to do that negotiation, has got the agility, has got the sort of quicksilver skills which are necessary to complete that negotiation. And in failing to participate in those TV debates, I think she's actually failing to put herself through a test which she should rightly be expected to endure.
Nick Clegg, thank you very much for joining us. Good to see you.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.